Repetition of japa means repetition of a mantra. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, among all the yagyas, I am the japa yagya, because it is the easiest form of worship and meditation, especially in Kali Yuga, when it's so difficult to do other forms of worship and sadhana. Now, the repetition of a mantra usually is the repetition of a Maha Mantra, which is a mantra that is composed solely, only by names of God. So, together with the name of God, we can have meditation verbs such as Dhamma, Dhimahi, Bhajami, Namami, Aham, something like that, which expresses the action of worship or meditation in general. Now, the mantra, specific names of God depend on the vrata. Vrata means vow, means deciding, pledging, engaging oneself with determination to follow a particular sadhana for a particular period of time. So this means that at the beginning of the japa vrata, we state the sankalpa or the determination. So we have to decide how many times we will repeat the mantra, and possibly also the rules, the other rules of achara, of behavior, that yama niyama, that we will observe during the engagement in this vrata. Until now, everything is clear, huh?
Yes, it is clear, getting clear. Please continue. Please continue, because I don't have any knowledge. I am just listening with attention.
It's okay. So, the repetition of the mantra, the Maha Mantra, can be done either with, audibly, you can actually hear the sound of the mantra, or you can do it very softly, so nobody else can hear, or you can do it mentally. Contrarily to what some people may think, the louder the repetition is, the less effective is the mantra. Usually people think that because they are chanting the mantra loudly, that will have more effect. This is not the purpose of the japa sadhana. The purpose of the japa sadhana is introspection. It's not to shout the mantra to everyone so that everyone can hear it and get benefits. That's the purpose of kirtana. Kirtana means, we do it loudly. If we do it loudly with other people, it's even called Sankirtan. But the japa sadhana is done for our own meditation. So if we do it less loudly, we will focus more, and we will avoid developing ego and pride and arrogance, because we remain humble, because it's just something between ourselves, within ourselves, between us and God. And also, if we don't do it so loudly, it is also going to be more effective, because we cannot count on the mechanical effect. Now, when we chant some mantra loudly, it can become mechanical. So people think we are chanting, and we think we are chanting, but sometimes the mind is going everywhere. So mechanically we are repeating the mantra, and then we are not really focusing. When we do it softly or mentally, the mechanical repetition becomes more difficult. So we have to actually concentrate and focus. So this is why it is said, the traditional way of doing japa sadhana is to do it very softly or mentally, which is best. Now, because we take the sankalpa of reciting a certain number of mantras, we need to count them, right? How do we know how many mantras we have chanted? So there is a very simple method, which is the japamala. Japamala has traditionally 108 beads, plus one bigger bead that is usually called the meru. And when we pass one bead for each mantra, when we reach the meru, we don't jump over the meru, we just turn around the japamala, and we do in the other direction. The bead system is easier because it's something that is always there. Particular number is there. We don't need to distract our mind from the mantra to focus it on the numbers. Like, for example, there are also other methods. Like, for example, we can count on the fingers. That is also a mechanical action. If we learn how to count on the fingers, the hands will go and count by themselves. But because we only have so many figures, if we want to calculate more than 10 or 12, we have to do some other measuring. Okay. And traditionally, one complete round of mantras, one unit of japa sadhana is considered 108 mantras, because this is a very auspicious number. Now, if you count on the hands, you cannot count 108 easily on the hands. You have to give some attention, because you can count the units on one hand and the tens on the other hand, but that is a bit more complicated, so it can distract from the chanting actually from the mantra. So also I have seen the modernization, especially in some Western sadhakas. They have the mantra counter. They have some, it's a small machine, and you click each mantra, and the number goes up. But that doesn't give you the signal of the end of the set of 108 mantras. So that's also distracting and complicated. So the best solution is the japamala, the traditional japamala, which has 108 beads, and you can completely focus on the mantra and the meditation, and it goes by itself. Usually, there every round you finish, you can move one bead on another on a different counter, or you can put one little stone, a pebble, move it from one pile to another pile. Some people even do with the grains of rice. So they do some, difficult vrata, which is to eat only one grain of rice for each round or each mantra they're going to chant, which I think it's a bit, like painting oneself into a corner, because, if for some reason you cannot chant the prescribed number for a day, then you either break the vow or you don't eat. And if you are put in difficult situations, because sometimes, you are tested. And the reason is that the reason also why it's not a very good idea to do it is that when we take up very strict vratas, we take up very difficult sankalpas, it increases our ego. Not only we can go, we can take the vrata itself less seriously, but if we can do it, we become more arrogant. So in the Bhakti Shastra, we have, I think, Rupa Goswami, who was saying, Atyahara Pryasacha. One, you should not take too much, eat too much, accept too much, which is also in the way of the sadhana. If we try to engage in a sadhana that is too difficult, we will get troubles, because we will be tested. There is no doubt. We will be tested. How serious we are, how humble we are. So better not to bring too much Visarjana. Yeah. So Visarjana means that when the worship is finished, we give our pranam, we tell God, thank you for accepting my worship. Now, please, you don't need to stay. I'm going to close. I'm going to uninstall this outlet, this communication channel. And usually the vigraha, after being uninstalled, is left in nature. Now, here we have another big problem. The big problem is that people remain ignorant. When ignorant people remain attached to the externals only, they don't know what they're doing, they can end up doing very bad things. So today, Kali Yuga is an age of plastic. So we have the age of gold, the age of bronze, the age of iron, and then we have the age of plastic. So lots of temporary vigrahas are made with plastic. Now, the original temporary vigrahas were made of clay, unbaked clay. So after the Visarjana, they were immersed in some water, and the clay would just dissolve, going back to the natural elements. And people will pick up the clothes and ornaments and everything. They could use them as prasad. Now, because today people do the pandals and the festival not to worship God, but to have a material opportunity for celebration. They don't really care so much. They just want to impress the neighbors. So they prepare temporary vigrahas of God that are not suitable for worship, and that cannot be dissolved in nature after the Visarjana. So what they do at the end, they have this procession, they take the Vigraha to the beach, and then they throw the Vigraha in the water, and the sea throws it back on the beach, where all these discarded Vigrahas are laying around like garbage, and the dogs are peeing on them, and people are throwing other garbage together, which is a big disgrace. So, the best thing, going back to the Japa Yagya and Japa Mantra City, is that if we install a Vigraha of our Ishtadeva in our mind, in the substance of our mind, we never need to do a Visarjana, because it's there in our mind. It will stay with us even when we die, because when we die, we leave the gross body, but we take our mind with us. So this is called Mantra City. And it's the best, easiest, and most effective way to attain samadhi through the yoga process. Because the yoga, being connected with Tantra, is based on mantra and yantra. Yantra can also indicate a vigraha made with different materials. And the mantra, we know what the mantra is. The mantra is the sound form of the deity. So, yes, in a sense, the Japa sadhana, the Japa yagya, is the best, the easiest, most effective way of meditating on God, the easiest yoga, the easiest yagya, the best yagya, as Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Especially in Kali Yuga, because in Kali Yuga we should try to go for easy things, most effective, easiest, because Kali Yuga is difficult. It is an ocean of faults. Dosha leader. Indeed. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, I got answer of my question, but in this context, I would like to say that this should not be a mechanical one. Uh,
Yes,
uh,
and yeah,
uh,
as I said before, there is some what to say danger of making it mechanical because you need to do a lot of repetitions. Now, if you know something about the human anatomy, you
Pardon?
know human anatomy, how the brain works.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Now, the brain works through synapses. I think that's the correct pronunciation in English.
Yes, synapses. Hmm.
Okay, synapses means that a very small no no synopsis it means summary. Synapses is a particular
Connecting the neurons
yeah,
in the
yeah, the structure. Yeah,
neuronal network, in the neuronal
exactly,
network,
exactly.
that synapse is the end point, and it's like a transmission from antenna. It connects to the nearby synapse. That
Exactly, exactly. So it's a structure of the nervous system. Yeah,
transfer of yes.
exactly, which includes the brain and the every neuronal path becomes established more firmly with practice. This is how
Right,
the
right, right.
mechanical scientists are explaining the development of habits.
Agree, agree, agree.
So we establish a neuronal path through the synapses, and in psychological terms, we call it subconscious.
Agree, agree.
So when we repeat a particular action, whether a physical action or a mental action, when we repeat this action for a sufficient number of times, it becomes second nature. It becomes established in the subconscious and then it becomes autonomous, means it goes on by itself. It's a kind of autopilot. So when we keep repeating, we repeat the mantra for a sufficient number of times. Some people say 3 lakh, some people say more, some people say less, but it depends a lot on the specific individual. Because for some people, the mantra CD will require more repetitions. For some people, mantra CD will require less repetitions. But the proof, the evidence of the mantra CD is when the name is always in your mind, even without uh, any effort from your side. So, like for example, it is also said in the Bhakti Shastra that you should call the name Hari when you greet people, like Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, like that. Or when you sneeze, or when you stumble, as a regular habit, which is exactly the opposite of the Abrahamic idea, where you should not, one of the basic commandments of the Bible is that you should not call the name of God. We say exactly the opposite. Please call the name of God as much as possible. So it becomes established in your mind, in your subconscious, and it is always there. The presence of God in the form of the name will always be there, whatever you do. And this is the perfection that we want to attain in the yoga, which is called samadhi. Now, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Now, dharana means that you have to sit down and focus and do some japa sadhana, japa yajna. Dhyana means that you get used to it, and you meditate and you keep and you develop gradually from sadhana, it becomes a raganuga. It becomes, you actually develop a taste for it. You like it. It's not an effort anymore. You can go on chanting or hearing or listening, and you don't get bored. Because in the early stages, if you keep repeating, you get bored. That's normal. Because the mind is restless. It's difficult to keep the mind focused on something. This is the meaning of dharana. Dharana means training the mind to focus on one thing only without allowing it to run everywhere, all over the place, like the mind usually does. So, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Dharana, you have to make a big effort. Dhyana, you start to develop some attachment, ruchi, some taste, okay, and some feeling, some bhava, rasa, bhava, some emotion. Then, when the name becomes permanently installed in your mind, then you have samadhi, which is raganuga bhakti. That is, you are never going to lose it. Even if you want to, you don't care, but you're never going to lose it. It's always there. Is that clear?
100% clear. This last part, what was my observations and point that you have explained it through this scientific that repetition means it is awaking subconscious mind or whatever it is, repeating and repeating and repeating, that ultimately it is getting focused, and so the aspirant, the practitioner, will ultimately reach the goal.
Exactly. And the funny thing that the mechanical scientists don't understand is that these neuronal paths are actually not only observed in the gross matter, they remain as energy in the subtle biomagnetic field. That is the mind.
Yes,
And
that
yes,
that field, the field inside the brain is ultimately connected with the external field.
yeah, we don't
Mm,
care. Exactly. Now, when we die, we take this biomagnetic field with us. It doesn't stay in the body. The traces of this biomagnetic activity in the body disappear when we die because we take them with us. We take them away.
this regarding biomagnetic field, I would like to know in
Yeah.
more. Can you please send some text?
Yeah, in yoga, the Upanishad, Yoga Upanishads, it is explained as a karma saya. The karana saya. It's the aura. It's
Yes, I have
yeah,
heard about it.
yeah. It's a biomagnetic field, nothing else. But the point is, a biomagnetic field is produced by the Atman. It's not produced by the body.
Okay. Okay.
So
But
when the Atman is in the body, you can observe the effect of the biomagnetic field in the body.
okay.
When the
So
Atman leaves the body, the biomagnetic field, that is the aura or Karnashaya, goes with the Atman.
hmm,
The point is that people, these mechanical scientists, are not able to measure it when it's outside the body.
hmm.
So they say it doesn't exist.
And there is one institute in USA. They are studying on it. Heart Math Institute. If by chance you,
Ah, you know, yes. Now the point is, probably you heard about it that during the Cold War, the CIA even had this department
yeah,
for
yeah,
remote viewing.
through remote viewing.
Yeah, they know there is something, but because they don't have the instruments to measure it, the stupid people say that doesn't exist.
Now this Heart Math Institute, they have got measuring instruments installed at different parts of
Yeah,
world.
but they are not giving this knowledge to the general people. If you go on Wikipedia, it's still pseudoscience. They call it pseudoscience.
Yes.
So, these people in one research institute or maybe 10 research institutes, they are doing, they know things that the general people will not even believe. If we tell the general people, they will insult us because they're ignorant, they're stupid. So ignorant and stupid people, when they don't have arguments, they just insult. They use offense and insult. So basically, this is how it works. That the biomagnetic field is produced by the Atman. And this is a very important foundation of Vedic science. Now, the people who are trying to interpret the ancient Vedic science in the light of the mainstream Newtonian mechanistic view of the universe and technology, they cannot understand Vedic science because Vedic science has very different basis, foundations. Now, there are some, lots of people today that are interested in this, alien, the UFOs, and, ancient astronauts and stuff like that. They are stuck in the idea that whatever mysterious things that you can find in ancient cultures had to be of the same type of technology as the Newtonian mechanistic obsolete view of the universe. So they think that Brahmastra was an atomic bomb. They think that the weapons were lasers and this and that. The spaceships were they had to work had with special fuel, plasma fuel. But that's stupid, because they don't understand the power of the biomagnetic fields, the power of the Atman, and the power of Brahman, the power of Sabda Brahman. It is very clearly said in Shastra that the Vimanas were working on mantras, that the Divya Astra, the divine weapons used even by human beings, for example, in the Mahabharata, they were based on mantra. And because they don't know the properties of Sabda Brahman, properties of sound, the property of the biomagnetic field of Atman Brahman, they think it's either mythology or there was, the people who were writing about these weapons, they didn't know how it was working, so they have to say it's a laser beam. It's not laser beams, it's mantra, it's a different thing. Laser is based on light and mantra is based on sound, vibration, which is not necessarily a vibration that you hear with your, with your eardrum. It's a different type of vibration that is very similar to light, but it's actually more powerful than light. But it's difficult to explain to people. But if we experience the power of the mantra, the real, genuine power of the mantra, we can start to understand even the ancient Vedic science of Vimanas and Astras and everything. Is there any question or observation on this? Comment?
No question. Fully satisfied with your explanation.
Good. Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, so I think we are nearing 1 hour of the meeting. I thank you for the participation. We can do it again tomorrow, next meeting. Let me stop the recording. There.